you would have to at least acknowledge that I don't do this willy-nilly. Like, for me to say that, I think for me to say that I would do it today, I would argue that that's a pretty telling thing, because I am not that guy normally.
I agree with that.
So I believe that this is the right thing, and I do like Joe Barry, and I do like making jokes about how he... Saying that you like Joe Barry means that you like him as a person, but maybe you don't like what he does defensively. So I do. I think he's a good dude. I do.
Okay.
I genuinely do. I don't think he's a bad guy. Believe me, there have been guys that I thought were bad guys. No, I'm not going to tell you who they are. But I don't think he's a bad guy. What I do think is that when you keep a guy on your staff and tell him he's not going to run the defense that he runs, that is his signature style, then what the hell did you keep him for? Other than you like him because he's a good dude and you didn't want to fire him. Because if you don't want to run what he usually runs, then you shouldn't have kept him.
So why did he, again, all of this, Phil putting us, you got to fire him. I am still, if you were going to do that, why you didn't do it last year?
Yeah, I'm not convinced he's going to do it today, Tausch. I'm not convinced he's going to do it today.
I think he will, because I think he's going to succumb to the pressure.
To the mob?
That's what I think. I couldn't get my head wrapped around it last January, and I'm having a hard time understanding all of the vitriol to Joe Barry. Joe Barry's defensive teams have not been good enough. We can all agree on that. It's been too inconsistent. You asked the question coming in the hour, what drives you nuts? It's going to be the soft coverage on third downs. That's what's going to drive people the maddest of Packer fans, because that's been the case. That's been the problem. And how that gets fixed, will it be different if he brings in somebody else? God, you hope so. I don't know if that will be the case. But I can't get my head wrapped around how Matt LaFleur made that decision. And I said when he made it, well, all right, you made your bed. It's the biggest decisions coaches make are who you hire on your staff and who you want leading those rooms. That's a big deal. And when you make that decision, it can't just be, and then you let this thing go, and it's been this way. Why you would expect a ton of differences in what he does and how he approaches it? You know him. You know that makes me think that's what you want as a coach. So all of this other stuff, I do think that today he will let him go. And if he doesn't, what does that say about him?
That's a fair question, too. And my answer to what's the one thing about Joe Barry's defenses that bothers me enough that I would fire him or consider firing him, and I say this knowing, and please tell me if I'm wrong about this, Tausch, the hardest thing to do, what the really, really, really good coaches do, and it's really hard to do it well, that's why they're the best coaches, is adjust in-game and make changes in-game. Fair?
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's terrible at it. I think that is his downfall. When something's not working, I don't think he has the wherewithal to say, all right, this is not working, we got to go do something different, right? We're playing coverage, and we're rushing with 4, and we're playing zone coverage. We can't do this. It's not working. The guy's shredding us, to use Matt LaFleur's phrase. We got to make a switch. We got to do something different, because we're going to lose this game if we keep doing this. I don't think that is his strength. And if that's the one thing, that's it for me. I understand. You could say they can't stop the run. Hey, history, the Green Bay Packers history is filled with defensive coordinators who couldn't stop the run. That is not a new criticism just for Joe Barry. But in-game adjustments, to me, are the mark of a really good coach. And I don't know how good Matt LaFleur is offensively either at that, frankly. Because it's hard to be really good at it. But I don't think Joe Barry's good enough at it. Is that fair?
Yeah. I think all of this criticism is fair. I just don't know if we're putting all of this on the people that should be, Joe Barry he's a pawn. in this whole game. He's a pawn. You got
Is he a
Rooks
patsy?
and everybody else in the back.
Is he a patsy?
I was going to say that. I'm listening to that JFK podcast right now. Fascinating.
That's exactly what
Fascinating.
Soledad O'Brien, right? Rob Reiner,
Yeah, it's
I think?
Soledad and I don't know who the other guy is, whatever his name is. This is the case where I think Joe Barry is a patsy in this whole thing. But I'm going to use pawn because I don't want to infringe on the whole JFK deal. So why
it's so hard?
This decision, because on the post-game show last night, we got into a big conversation. How much better is this Packers defense with Brian Flores coaching it?
It's a great question. I love that question. What did you
Who
decide?
has more talent? Who has more talent, Minnesota or the Green Bay Packers on defense? I said the Green Bay Packers. Gabe pushed back pretty hard. Gabe doesn't think we have any field tilters on the field. I disagree with him. I think that the defense would be better with Brian Flores. Then, well, would the defense be better with this guy? Would the defense be better with Vic Fangio? Would the defense... And everybody kept coming back with the answers yes. I don't disagree with that. But I just don't know what that decision-making process is like for Matt LaFleur. I don't know. I don't understand his decision-making on any of this. And that's why I don't know. I'm still guessing the pressure will be succumbed, and it will be bye-bye Joe Barry. Bring on whomever. Who's taking over if Joe Barry is fired today?
My gut would tell me Greg Williams, who is their defensive passing game coordinator.
He's not the same Bounty Gate, Greg.
No,
Williams, right?
this is Greg with one G.
Oh.
And he's got a great story, which I haven't gotten to tell yet. But this is a guy who got into coaching after his playing career was over because someone put a flyer on his windshield wiper about coaching YMCA kids football. And that's how he got started into coaching after his playing career ended.
Good story.
It is.
It's a good story.
I might be telling it sometime this week. We'll have to wait and see. All right, 844-770-3776. Tausch is going to tell us about AmFam, and then we'll resume your calls. So sorry to keep you waiting on that, but I did want to get that conversation going along with your calls. Tausch, tell us about AmFam.
I will. We have a VIP experience at a Badger basketball game that American Family Insurance wants to give you and a friend this season. You'll receive pregame sideline you'll receive courtside passes. There are no more sideline passes. It's all courtside passes, tour of the facility, and tons of great merch to support your Wisconsin Badgers. And you just saw Purdue beat Arizona. Got Purdue coming. A bunch of fun games at the Kohl Center coming up. Enter today at amfam.com/Badgers. No purchase is necessary. Dream fearlessly. Insure carefully.
Back to the phones. So if you haven't called yet, now's the time to do it. 844-770-3776. 844-770-3776. It's Wilde Tausch.